We are live. Good evening, everyone. No one was
Hello,
kidnapped
Earth
by aliens,
creatures.
so everyone's here.
Yeah,
Explosive space modulator.
no, my Marvin the Martian impression is terrible. Let me try again. Hello, Earth creatures. No, it was terrible.
For some reason, there was an alien abduction theme going on in our messages yesterday. Who was coming to the show? I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it happened.
I think it was
Did you
more of
make
a
it to
I'll be at the
the comic
show.
book shop this week, Wilson?
I just got back from the shop itself.
Ah,
So it's I went today. It's a gloomy day, raining, but
oh yeah,
I just got back and just got in before it rained heavily. So
that's good.
I picked up one book from my pull list, and then the rest I pulled off the rack. And I think I'm going to decide maybe to put these books on my pull list because I've been grabbing them just about every week.
Ah. Did you get any free comic book day stuff?
No, I usually do not participate in the free comic book events, mainly because as much as I would love free comics, that event is not for me because I
Yeah.
already buy comics. So I
Right.
rather that book go to somebody who's trying it out new.
Well,
Um,
on
and
the Wednesday following free comic book day, my shop is just looking to get rid of those books. So
oh,
like,
okay.
take some, take some.
Yeah, and then the new kid finds out that the next comic is $5 and he gives up.
Yes.
Sleepy
I
Peter
usually
asks,
would
"What did you
do
do with the alien double?"
nothing yet. I'm trying to get him to do my work.
Mr. Spock's cousin on his mother's side.
Yeah,
Paulo keeps getting new names.
that's right. I'm going to be changing the name lots of times today.
So, what is the one book that was on your pull list, Wilson? Oh, you muted yourself.
The aliens muted him.
The aliens muted him.
So, Amazing Spider-Man number 49,
Okay.
a Blood Hunt crossover.
Let's go
Oh
big
boy.
on you.
Blood Hunt.
And good evening, Mind the Comics.
So it looks like vampires is the new zombies for this series.
Okay.
So that's what I guess
Everyone's
is going to
fighting
be going on.
vampires.
Let's see if this opens up with a. We get a map.
Ooh, I love maps.
Okay, we do not get a map. We get a checklist.
Uh-huh.
Who will bite it?
I saw, is Dracula now this like Twilight looking guy who's got long white hair?
Yes.
I don't know. I have not seen the Dracula book. I mean, yes, I did see the Dracula book. I didn't pick it up. Here he is.
Okay. Do you remember when Jubilee was a vampire for a while?
Nope.
Not at all. I wasn't reading those books.
Yeah, that's when Dracula came back as a parody of Interview with the Vampire.
Ah.
Okay. So it had some really cool John Romita Jr. artwork.
That's cool.
And so, vampires invade the Marvel Universe. Or technically they've always been there, but it looks like a larger event is going on.
Which is funny because the same thing's going on in Spawn right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Talk about synergy in comics.
Yeah. And the Spawn with in issue 350 of Spawn, which I think 352 just came out, all building up to issue 350 of Spawn was the battle to who's going to be the king of hell. So the new king of hell started, and meanwhile there's these Spawn was trying to close like the gates that went between heaven and hell and earth, or I forget what they're called. And eventually he managed to close them, but something happened where when the gates closed, every angel, demon, and hell and heaven powered creature lost their powers. So then the king of the vampires said, "Heh, this is a good time for me to take over." So the last couple issues have been the king of vampires killing all the powerless angels and demons. And Spawn has been depowered too. So, but he can still fight and kill vampires. He doesn't need stinking hell powers to do that. So, kind of the same thing has been going on. Let's see. Sleepy says, "Why did they have to change their Dracula? To help me save money? Because you're old. That's why they had to change Dracula, man. All us old people liked that 70s Dracula, but none of the new kids knew anything about him." Vampires make everything better, says Liz.
Yeah. They decided to make a hip new Dracula for the new millennium.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they? I'm not going to be interested in it, but they have like zero chance of getting me interested in their Dracula anyway. So why not make him more Twilighty? 20 years ago popularity.
Also, Blade is the sheriff of vampires or something.
They're only 20 years behind the times. That's not bad. Beats being 50 years behind the times. I have so much stuff to show off today. I got original art over here. Got some comics. I'll show off a comic first. What did I get this week? Turned out I think this is the last issue of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Oh, we lost Wilson. The aliens abducted him. This was the one that's done in this sort of a children's story style about serial killers. And in this issue are two serial killers kind of faced off. And our hero serial killer one. But I think it was just a 6-issue mini, not an ongoing, because it gives us the end at the end. So I don't know if there's any more plans to do any more of these, but it was a good series. Like, I only jumped on with issue 4, and then was able to get issues 2 and 3 in new printings of them. I'm still looking for issue number 1 in some random printing. But because it actually got popular, and issue number 1 went up to like $20 or $40. Right. So now I'll just wait for it to get unpopular and eventually get some version of issue 1. But it was a good series. Here comes maybe Wilson, maybe his alien double. I'm not sure at this point. Is it Wilson or is it his alien double? Nobody knows anymore. Let's see.
Like Dracula.
Yeah, Tit Goblin. Vampires need more Lost Boy mullets for me to be interested in them. What's the style at my time? There we go. Very Richard Scarry looking art on Beneath the Trees. Yeah,
it does remind me of the world of Richard Scarry.
Yeah. Sleepy says that looks like an alien double. We're just not sure anymore. He's not quite moving. I think he's having trouble with the internet tonight. But I'll quickly show you the free comic book day things I got, because I don't have a ton to say about them. I got tons of Strange, just because I liked the EC cover. This is from 10 Ton Press. I've never even heard of them. They do this book called Charles and Humphrey. I think it's a kid's book.
I was wondering if that was the new EC. They're doing the new EC, and I don't know when that's going to start coming out.
They've got this Star Wars parody in the beginning. I barely read it, but I like the cover. I'll put it in my cover section. And then let's see. I like the cover on this one. It's one of the Archie horror books. The Cursed Library. Once again, there's a little new framing sequence, and then it's a bunch of preview stuff. So, like I said, I like that cover, so I'll put it with the rest of my Archies, which mostly have good covers. But it still amazes me how how much Satan there is in these Archie books. There was this, because Madam Satan is one of the characters. And all hail Satan, hail the Antichrist. The morning, just to read that in an Archie book is like, whoa. And then what's the other one I got? The Worlds of James Tinian IV. And I tried to read this. I think it's all preview stuff. They had, I don't know if this sequence is new, but they had these kids playing Truth or Dare. And then I just couldn't make it through this. This was all just them kids debating each other over Truth or Dare, and one kid telling another kid about his dream or something. Oh no, here's where we got in. He's grown up and telling about his dream, and I was just like, oh my God, this is tedious. It's ponderous, man. Was that just? It's ponderous. So I was like, and then we just had like little bits from his stuff with Boom.
Huh. So a guy who got famous on superheroes decided to do boring things.
Well, no, hey, Something's Killing the Children is a popular book, so but that didn't thrill me. Let's see. The Alien Devil doesn't have a lot of personality. No. The Oni EC, I don't know if it's Oni has so many imprints. I don't know if this is 10-ton press, but I've never heard of 10-ton press. And I know
check the indicia.
Let's see. Good idea.
That's why comics have indicia, so you can check this stuff.
Oh, and this has got an indicia you can read even too.
Oh,
It's true. See, 10-ton Free Comic Book Day is trademark of Diamond.
Okay.
Published by 10-Ton Press, copyright 10-Ton Press. So I guess 10-Ton Press are their own thing.
Yeah. So there's nothing to do with the new EC line.
No. Tons of strange. Didn't seem so strange either.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it starts with Jawas, another Star Wars parody. Never seen one of those.
Evening Comic Crack. Then let's see, the other Free Comic Book Day one I got is the Overstreet Guide to Collecting Comics, which I usually like their Free Comic Book Day one because it's got ads. I mean, it's got ads. It's got articles on comic collecting and comic collecting history. But this one was an actual comic that showed you how to collect comics. In other words, it's not for me.
Shouldn't it be go to the store, pick up comic, walk to counter, give money for comic, take comic home?
Oh no, it tells you how to interact with the comic book store people and how to be nice to them and how to get a good relationship with them.
What? That sounds creepy.
No, I think it's for creepy people to not be creepy. Really? That's what it is. It's for kids and creepy people. So that one was a little And then I got this one just for Superman's nipples. Mad Magazine. And where is this from? I've seen it before. Oh, this is Callan. That's
It's an internet meme.
Right, it's an internet meme. It's this guy's got a web Kelly Callan, is that his name? I just see his name there. He does a lot of stuff. Yeah, Kerry Callan, that's it. He does a lot of stuff on his web. He does a bit of stuff on his. I've been following his website for years and years. He's got some good cartoons there. But yeah, you're right. That one may have been his first one. That was a meme. This is a job for crap. Already got my. I didn't even really look through this one yet because it's a free but it's got some Don Martin in it. They're really digging into the vault.
Okay.
And some here's some Kerry Callan. It's got some Kerry Callan in it too.
Mhm.
So this one should actually be pretty good. I'm going to read that one.
But does it remind you of the original Mad?
Well, some of it's reprints from the original Mad, so.
But and the rest is internet memes.
Yeah. Well, that was the free comic book stay stuff I picked up because my comic shop wants it out of there now. My comic shop isn't a big fan of free comic book day because it's filled with people they only see on free comic book day who don't buy anything, who never come back. So it's like, yeah. But I got some original art this week. Was sleepy. Does that mean they're bringing back Mad? I wonder. Probably not.
I think they already did.
No, they brought it back as a reprint. I think it comes out like 3 times a year. Right? It never went away, but they're not really doing any new material either. I think. But no one knows it's out. One of those things. But I actually. Do you remember? I think it was right after the 19th of April, because that was the day I bought a piece off of Elsa Charitier's website.
Mm-hmm.
Never got it. Finally emailed her earlier in this week, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I never saw the order. I'll pack it up for you tomorrow morning." That was a few mornings ago, and I still haven't got a tracking number or anything, so I don't know if she packed it up, but I'm still waiting on that one. But at that same time, I bought a piece from The Negation, a cross-gen book, off of eBay. Because over the years, I'll go on eBay and just look at the original art. Sometimes I buy a piece or two. Usually nothing too expensive. This Negation page was about $100, I think it was. Let me see. I put it in. I printed out a receipt just so I know how much I paid for it and put it in the bag. So let's see. This is from the very last issue of Negation, issue number 27, by Paul Pelletier. Was the Pelletier, however you say his name. So with shipping and tax, it was $95.20. Not bad for a piece of original art. And it's actually, let me show you. Here it is. Let me pull it out of here. This is one of the main villains of the book. I actually like him. He's a character I like. So it's just a page of him, and this is the inker who's over here, who I don't know his name, Heresy or something. So this is just a page where this villain arrives on a planet. Those are the aliens who live on the planet. And I also printed out a scan of the color page just to keep with it. Which this was a scan I got off the internet. I didn't scan the book myself, which I have. So I don't, I didn't color correct it or anything. So I can't say how accurate this printed color is from the printed color on the book. Someday I'll check, but I like this page because I specifically remembered this page too, because it was kind of a cool page near the end of the book where this guy is kind of he's a minor villain in the book. He's how they always have a character where there's like the big major villain who rules the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the minor villains who are like rule planets or sections of the galaxy, or they're governors on some planet. This guy was actually I think he was the governor on the prison planet where our lead character originally escaped from. So he's been trying to track down the lead character since issue number 0. And he's a pretty he's a character. He's one of the he could be sort of more down to earth and human than the other evil characters, even though he was still evil, but he could be a more down to earth evil, which is or down to whatever planet he's from. And I always liked that about him. So I saw this page up there for, I think I may have even got a discount on it, because the page itself was $80. I think it was originally $90, and the guy sent me an offer. But happy to have a page of original art for my favorite cross-gen series, which, not too expensive original art, too. That's what most of my original art is. Most of my original art has very little resale value.
Well, that's the best one, isn't it?
Right? As long as I like it.
Yeah. Whenever I hear people that they're looking for the most valuable ones, the splash pages.
Yeah.
How boring! I don't want. If I collect comic book art, I don't want a splash page. I want something with panels on it so that I can see a little bit of storytelling.
Right. I mean, not that I'd turn down a splash page.
Right.
But, and also, with my budget, that's not what I'm looking for. Splash pages, because like you said, those are the most expensive ones. I'll take a nice half splash page of that villain who nobody knows. But I think I have one other page of cross-gen art, and that's a page of Meridian, which I think is Steve McNiven, which I bought, must be 20 years ago now. I only, in the last 10 years, learned to print out a printout and put it with the art, so I know how much I paid for it and when I got it. Some of them I saved like PDFs of, but not all of them. And unlike, let's say, Amazon, eBay doesn't keep track of forever of your purchases. It keeps track of like the last 2 years of purchases and then deletes them. Like Amazon, you can go on and find everything you've ever bought on Amazon. Are cover or splash pages more expensive? Yes, covers are the most expensive. I mean 10 times. Good day there, the real Ramos Comics again.
Good day. Hopefully this works. If not, I may just show up in the comments. Bad internet connection.
Yeah. I was just showing a cross-gen page that I got.
Ooh.
And I made a printout of the color page, though I don't vouch for the color being accurate because I got it from a scan off the internet and didn't color correct it or anything. But yeah, if a regular interior pages goes for $100, the cover could go for $1,000. I mean, it's that much of a difference, and in popular books, even more than that.
Oh yeah.
And splash pages, if an interior page goes for $100, a splash page can go for $500. It's just woo. Sleepy says, I was gonna send Paulo Neil Adams splash page, but never mind.
Oh, the other pages are much more fun to look at. I mean, everything is sideways. Reminds me of the issue of so he starts on X-Men number 54.
Neil Adams?
Yeah.
That was later than that. That may have been Steranko on 54, right?
Steranko was on 50-51.
Okay.
Or 49-50. Because we have a couple of issues of very.
Oh, that's right. 59 is this Havoc one, or is that 57?
That before or after cancellation?
Before. Neil Adams was right before Yeah, I think he went up to it must have been the 50s. So because it was canceled at like 62 or something like.
But the issue before the first Neil Adams was drawn by Don Heck, and Heck was doing all those the panels with the sideways borders, trying to get people acclimated to Neil Adams the next month. There was just one problem. It was still Don Heck artwork, so it was pretty standard. It just had sideways borders.
I wonder who has the art for Alpha Flight number 6, and what is it worth? Eric, that's the one with only lettering on it, right?
The snow fight.
Probably not a lot.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. People will pay money for everything.
Here's something I didn't realize. The years I was working at Marvel, before computerization, we used to have to paste the balloons onto the artwork. That was our job, one of our jobs in the bullpen. Because things were so late, they'd send the pencils to the inker to ink, and they'd send a photocopy of the pencils to the letterer, who would then put a sheet of vellum tracing paper over it and letter right on the vellum. Then we'd get back in the vellum, we'd flip over the vellum paper, put white out on the back, and then cut out the balloons and paste them down and maybe touch them up a little to make it look like they were right on the page. But we cut up the actual lettering, the lettering that was on the vellum. Meanwhile, over at DC Comics, they were the same process, except they would photostat the lettering. So they wouldn't white out the back. They'd photostat the lettering. And then the bullpenner would cut out the balloons from the photostat and paste those down and send the original lettering back to the letterer. So there's a lot of like original lettering with nothing else, no artwork on it, just the original lettering on vellum from DC in the 90s. I did not know that until fairly recently, when I think it was Pat Brousseau mentioned that. I was like, oh, because he was working for DC a lot at the time. I was like, oh, look at that. So, and he mentioned he sold his all. He's like, but I was like, oh, look, there are people who buy a page of lettering. So somebody owns that Alpha Flight number 6 artwork. Graphing it. Very interesting. I can't imagine all of that cutting and pasting. That's what we did all day.
Alpha Flight number 6.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. He's got it. Yeah, that's amazing. Original art for lettering. I'd grab that. Yeah, I have never seen any out there, like on eBay or anything, but Pat Brousseau said he sold all his, and I imagine other letterers either have it or sold it. So there's got to be some out there, just a page of original lettering.
I think Pat also posted Mobius lettering that he had purchased.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't know if it was from... I don't know what book the Mobius lettering was from, but yeah, he had lettering that he purchased.
The English translation or the original French?
I don't recall. He had shown it, and I looked at it real quick, but I didn't stare at it to see the language it was in.
Did you do hand lettering yourselves also? Yes, I did not for Marvel, but for my own stuff. I hated lettering. Oh my goodness, it made me go blind.
My handwriting is atrocious. It is ironic I went into lettering.
It takes practice.
Yeah, and because by the time I dabbled in it, it was already in computer, and that's the only way I got work. I never sat down to even attempt it. I don't even own an Ames guide, and I should pick one up just to have it.
Graphic Man says I could probably letter G.I. Joe 21, but then I would retire. That's the silent issue, I imagine.
That is the silent issue.
Yeah, I did all my own lettering on all my comics in the early 90s. I even did some hand lettered over digital stuff in the late 90s. What I would do, because I wanted the lettering right on the board, so what I would do was I'd letter it digitally, print it out, and then hand lettered it light boxed. Just because it made it easier. I did some that way just to try it out.
Nice.
Eric P says if letterers got photostats to letter over, they could sell their lettering page over the photostat if they kept them. Yeah, it was usually photocopies, and
Lettered on vellum.
I imagine they still had. I don't know how they did it at DC. If they could keep the photocopies at DC. I mean, there was no reason. Well, maybe the stat guy threw them out. I don't know how, because what would happen with us is I have I have some photocopies of pencils from my Marvel days, because we would get them in, and occasionally there'd be some page I liked or wanted to try inking over, and I'd keep the photocopy. I wish I kept more. We always, all of us back in those days say, "Oh, I wish I kept more stuff," but then we would have been inundated with stuff, so there was no way to keep it all. But
I have 5 FedEx boxes full
Yeah.
of artwork that I have not opened.
Photocopies of artwork, you mean?
Photocopies of artwork, no rhyme or reason of what it is, and no real order, just photocopies of stuff.
Let's see. Question: is there a difference between a photostat and a photocopy? Yes. A photocopy is on plain paper. You know what a photocopy is. You just, it's like same paper that goes through our inkjet machines now, uncoated paper. A photostat is a photographic process, and it's done on a much thicker plasticky photo paper. Yeah, there's a piece of glossy, there's a photostat. Mm-hmm. See how glossy it is? And it's much thicker paper, and it's archival. Since it's like a silver halide photo. You use the same photochemicals for making photographs you use in photostats.
Yeah, so that it retains all the details better.
Right, retains all that is what they'd actually archive rather than the original art. Matter of fact, you can even see, like, on the EC Comics artist editions I have, they had a stamp that said, what is it called? Silver print. Because photostats were also called silver prints because it was silver halide, just like a black and white photograph, silver halide, except no grays in it, just black or white. But it could pick. Photostat cameras were huge. Could pick up every detail of the art, and they'd archive the photostats. Which, when they tell you they had to keep the original art in case they had to print something, that was not true, because they had the photostats archived. There was no reason for them to. I can't imagine a life spent lettering 8 hours a day for decades. Yep. There are plenty of people I know who've done it. See, Dave Sharp. He's lettered a lot of stuff. Uh-oh, the phone's ringing. Let me get rid of that phone. I usually do.
My day job is lettering comics, and sometimes it's 8-hour day, sometimes it's 4 hours. It really depends on the day. You could do a whole book, a 22-page book, in a day if you have the hours. Because sometimes you'll be working on a few pages. Because of the books that I letter, especially for paper cuts, Loud House is done in chunks of stories of either 1 page, 5 pages, 8 pages, and those come in when they get done. So sometimes I find myself lettering maybe 4 pages a day, and then that's kind of it until more pages come in. And then other times I'll get a full book and sit there and work on it.
Yep, that's why you were saying in the beginning, life is boring.
Yeah, it's the same long day. Sometimes I go to the comic book shop just so I could get out of the house for a little while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when you don't have the work, you're panicking.
Oh, completely. Completely. Sitting there contacting every one of your editors to go, hey, what's going on?
Remember me?
Yeah, I'm currently available if you have any books.
Hand lettering, though, that's what I have trouble imagining doing every day. I know people who hand lettered every day, and they liked it better than computer lettering every day.
Yeah.
Some people couldn't make the transition. But yeah, I couldn't imagine it either. I found hand lettering, for some reason, bugged my eyes out. Like because you have to concentrate so much, and the white of the paper, like you have to look at the paper in a way that's different than drawing. Like when you're drawing, you're going in, you're kind of moving all around, you're staring, the pencil's moving around, or you're inking. And but with lettering, it's like you're looking at that one section, and you're making these tiny little letters perfect. And I just found it bugged my eyes out. I'd be like, in a way that drawing and inking never had, painting never has.
My LCS owner is the one who letters the books that he publishes. But although I think it's an insistence, because he likes to be credited as editor and designer of the books that he puts out. So I guess to him, lettering is part of the concept of designing a book. Although I once saw, so it was this thing that he wrote. It was the third issue of Super Pig, which was a comic he was doing about himself. And he wrote too much text on a scene, and he was having a hard time making all the text fit on the page. So he showed me what he's trying to do. Why don't you take this out? Oh, no, I tried it. It doesn't work. Okay. So there were 3 panels, but since they were all the same talking head, he removed one of the panels and replaced it with a narration box to serve as the continuing talking head. Between the 3 talking heads became 2, and the narration box connected the 2 talking heads, it was all part of the same monologue.
I would feel that a writer should take on a little bit of lettering to know exactly what's happening on the page, and again to basically see what really is needed, what can be cut out. One of the weird things, one of the easier jobs I ever had of lettering was a independent book. Or no, not independent, a small press company. And I would read the script, and the script would be interesting because there was more information in the script describing what is happening on the page than the text that was going on to the page. So it's like the only people that's going to enjoy this book are the people drawing it and the people who basically are editing the book, because when it gets lettered, it was so light in lettering.
All of the background information wasn't there?
Wasn't there. All the information was on the page to say, these 2 characters are fighting. This is what they're feeling.
Oh.
But the text is only, I'll stop you, a couple of sound effects, a few grunts and all that. But the information is like, she's going to attack her because of the way she feels about this, and that. So sure, the artist is reading that and going, okay, I know what to draw.
Right.
But that information is no way not on the
He
page
was writing
itself.
out their motivations even.
Yeah, he was writing an interesting book, not necessarily a comic book.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they mean when people say writer doesn't know how to write a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think that if the artist is aware of the motivations for the characters, he may be able to draw their body language better.
It may help. Like that's how Alan Moore writes, they say.
It may help. The problem I had with it as a letterer, it just says, the artwork reads, Villain 1 shows up and attacks Hero 1. No introduction of that character. Nothing that says why that character's attacking. So yes, the artist knows why the character's attacking, but the reader has no idea who this person is and why they're attacking this guy. So that vital information is only read by the artist, and it's like it's missing the narration box. It's missing, super angry woman shows up and declares war on superhero woman, and then the fight begins. Something should be in the text. Instead, it's just bang.
What book was I complaining about last week or the week before? That Black Sand book where they kept changing times, and I didn't know. It just had that thin red border to let me know that they changed time, and I didn't even notice it half the time.
Huh.
But, once again, you got to let your readers know this stuff.
Right. Yeah, you do need captions.
You do need captions. I'm all for
what do you have against captions?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Sleepy says lettering off an Alan Moore script might be interesting. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that lettering is the problem in an Alan Moore script. Although I suppose there are guys who got so there are guys in Britain who got so used to working with Moore that they started just skim reading the scripts.
Getting what they needed out of it.
Yeah.
And I got something written down in my little book here. Did you see the announcement that DC is printing their Jose Garcia Lopez style guide from the early 80s?
Yes, I have been trying to get my grubby hands on that style guide for decades. I was hoping to get it when I was running the library at Marvel. Hey, we should have a copy of that here. It didn't happen. So
now you'll be able to get a copy.
Yes. So I'm very excited for that. That's just, again, is one of those things I don't know if it's as a comic book fan or reader or someone who works in production is why I would want something like that. Because again, it's not really a public thing. It's more of a internal memo kind of thing. It's like licensing. So for me, it's like I find that completely fascinating with the whole process of, not only do you get the characters, you get the turnarounds, you get the color codes and stuff like that. All stuff that's production.
For those who don't know what the DC style guide is, in the early 80s, I think it was, they had Jose Garcia Lopez. I think it took him like a year to do or something like that. They gave him the job of creating the style guide for all DC's licensing division. So if you wanted to license a DC superhero to make your own whatever out of t-shirts, whatever, you would get this style guide so you could be on style for it. You'd have to follow, or else I think you would use the art right out of it too. Because a lot of things had the Jose Garcia Lopez art right on.
Oh, yeah, they were just taking the artwork. From what I saw, they were taking the artwork right out of it.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know if anyone was superpowered toys, any T-shirt going on around that time period, or even if it's like if you made a like those vinyl 12-inch figures. It would have a little tag that had, Superman vinyl, and that artwork and the tag would be a Garcia Lopez image
right
from it.
So that style guide has been kind of legendary.
Yeah. Or instead of following the style guide, you can just have El Plastino redraw all the faces.
That style guide was legendary, throughout the comic industry. People always wanted, because everybody loves Jose Garcia Lopez art.
Yeah, and it was beautiful artwork. It was if I remember correctly, a 3-ring binder, and occasionally they would show up on eBay, but someone would take it apart and try to sell one page at a time for an outrageous price, and it's like, oh, I'm not going for that. That's just crazy. I don't have the mindset to sit there, because I wouldn't know if it's complete.
Right.
That type of stuff. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see that they're putting that together and putting it out.
Yeah. Again, how much? Tit Goblin asked, how much do you think he got paid to do the guide? Since it was for the licensing department, I would guess he got paid the most he ever did in his career. I don't have a number for you, but if he got paid $100 to do something for DC Comics, he probably got paid $400 to do it for the licensing department. Because that's how it works. It's like sometimes you could always make more money in advertising in general. But even since he wasn't being paid by the comics department, I imagine he made a lot more money than he would working on the comics. What do you think of Wilson? Is it?
Yeah, working in licensing, you usually got more money, and I would imagine he got more money doing it that way.
Because the budgets were different.
Yeah,
and you get more money because you weren't drawing a full comics page. That's a lot of drawing one comics page is a lot of work.
Yes,
drawing a Superman figure, that's a little easier.
Mike Cryer did the same for Disney.
As far as I know, Marvel never had a style guide.
What they would have would be per season, something would be put together. So I have a Spider-Man style guide for 1994, I think, and I had gotten it on a CD. And so it was approved logos, it was approved images, and then it was just for packaging artwork. So somebody at Marvel put together these style guides. I think it was whatever group Jesse Falcon was with.
Right.
That was offset of the bullpen.
Right.
There was like Jesse's the only name I recall, but there was at least 2 or 3 other people in that department.
They were Toy Biz people.
Right. So they would put together style guides for projects.
Right.
So if this was Spider-Man animated series, this was the approved logo, the approved fonts, some approved images, and then that was it. And you can make your package design from that and only that. So I think the style guides were kind of like that, where it was made for a certain time period and for certain connecting things. Those are the closest things I ever saw to style guides.
What about those images that were made for the official handbook with the poses with the hands?
That's what I was about to say. Occasionally, they'd use the official handbook of the Marvel Universe as sort of style guides. If you had to look up what somebody's costume looked like, you'd look it up in that. I don't know if licensors ever used it that way, but editors would, or but it wasn't always updated.
Right. See, yeah. So to know if there was ever a style guide, we would have to ask Mike Thomas. He would know.
What you want to see is the in-house lettering style guide. I forget who put it together, but actually, whose blog? What's his name? Todd Klein has showed it on his blog. a bit of it. What it was, and it was still around in the early 90s. If you were the on-staff letterers at Marvel in the hand lettering days, in the bullpen, they did lettering corrections and they did the cover copy. So they had to be taught how to do the cover copy because that's not something you learn in school. So somebody in the early 80s in the bullpen, I forget which letterer it was, put together photocopies of, and it was a big thick book of photocopies of like all the hand lettering cover copy from the 70s on into the 80s. So it was a lot of Danny Crespi, a lot of Gaspar, what's his last name? Saladin. He just went by Gaspar. And I forget who else. But a lot of, and that was really cool to see. And if you want to see it, go on over to Todd Klein's blog, and he has done blog posts on it. But it was fun to look through. It's just this big binder of all this cover copy. Photostats of the original, because they would often do the cover copy on a separate piece of paper and then paste it down onto the cover. So it was all like, photocopies of that original, of those original, nice clean shots. And I think Todd Klein actually tracked down the covers the copy was from. So check that out. That's really cool to see.
Yeah, I'll look that up because I didn't run into that at Marvel.
Yeah, that's because you were there in the digital age. Eric P. Marvel used the handbook. Did DC also use Who's Who? I don't know. They probably used it in the same way.
I would imagine
because by the
90s,
the Who's Who was not.
Was that Paolo?
The Who's Who was not designed the same way as the official handbook.
Oh, that's right. They didn't have the 3 views, right?
Right.
They just had
no. They
one
were like
shot
the early
of the character.
official handbooks. The early official handbooks wasn't 3 shots. That came later. So the
Right,
original official handbooks and the Who's were very
we
similar.
lost Paolo.
Oh.
We'll have to wait for him to come back. We have all sorts of internet troubles tonight.
I used to keep the Who's books nearby. I don't know if I still have them. I mean, I know I still have them. I just don't know if they're nearby. No.
They're somewhere or another.
Yeah, they're around here somewhere. I've been moving things around lately, putting toys on the shelf and whatnot. So I've been moving stuff all over the place.
Let's see. Let me show off one of the comics I got this week. What did I get? Oh, a new number 1.
Oh, what'd you get?
Ain't No Grave by Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. And the biggest problem I had with this book is the main character here. I have no idea what she's wearing. It's like the way her Old West costume or whatever this is works. It's like, I have no idea. It's just like masses of fabric. It is so strange. With a lot of buckles on whatever is in the art was nice. Oh, there's a good shot of it as she's underwater or something. It's like, I have no idea what that outfit is. I think it's supposed to be underneath, but it's like just this mass of fabric. Sometimes you can see sleeves, but most of the time you can't see any sleeves. And occasionally you can see all sorts of gun belts under there. It's just this weird over-the-top outfit that I kept kept finding that, like, what is that? All of a sudden, the scarf becomes the size of the shirt, and we can barely see the coat, and the buckles are gigantic. So other than being completely distracted by her costume, it was solidly okay. It was the story of this, that woman right there is our lead character, and it takes place in the Old West, and she used to be a thief. She used to be a notorious outlaw, and now she's settled down with a husband. She's got a husband and a young son. And she gets sick with what I assume is tuberculosis, consumption, because she starts coughing. Hey, Paulo is back.
Welcome back.
I'm talking about Ain't No Grave, the new Scotty Young and Jorge Corona book. And I was just saying, let me show you that my biggest complaint is I have no idea what she's wearing. She's got this crazy outfit on that's got a lot of buckles on the undercoat and a big scarf that sometimes looks like it's the size of a shirt and a big overcoat. And I found that outfit completely distracting. But otherwise the story was otherwise it was lots of nice art in it. Like I said, she's an ex outlaw. She's now settled down with a young son and a husband. And she gets a disease, which I assume is tuberculosis. So she gets her old outlaw stuff on, and she's given a year to live. And her husband is like, if you get treatment, you can live out this, be with us. And she's like, no, I've got to go for one last ride or something like that. So she inexplicably leaves her husband and child, and and goes on this journey. There's another shot of the outfit. What is that? I'm not sure. But then you find out, she makes her way to this crevice in the rocks where there's this city. And she says what she's got to do is kill death. So there's the city behind, and that's how it ends. There's the city behind the rock. And we find out her motivation for leaving her husband and young son is that she's going off to kill death. I guess so she doesn't die. But it's an extra big one. I think it's like, that's at least 48 pages for, what was it? $6. So a good deal. The artwork was terrific. I like this shot right there too. These are the sort of the Native Americans just watching her go off to that city. The city where even her horse won't go. Her horse is like, nope, not going any further. So I think I put it on my pull list. I don't think I ordered just the first issue, so I'll be getting more of it. But I liked the first issue, but that outfit was so distracting.
Yeah, that's the problem. People nowadays don't watch don't watch westerns, and they have no idea what people are supposed to be wearing.
It's just like he was drawing. He was having fun drawing his idea of what outfits she should be wearing. I don't know what his decision-making process was, but I found it distracting.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah.
One of the other books that I picked up is just from the shelf because I just like the color of it, and it's a Godzilla book. It's Godzilla War for Humanity, issue number 5.
That's what I picked up last week. I got the other cover.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Did you see the other cover?
I think I did, because they had them both on the shelf.
It was a much busier one.
Yeah, I just like this because of the solid green. And
Okay.
more recently, I've been looking at movie posters, and I'm just trying to see if the other covers in here. Here are the other two covers.
Yeah, that's the one I got right next to it there.
Okay, and then that's the.
But yeah, that's the one I picked up issue 3. Never saw issue 4 and saw issue 5 last week and was like, you know, I'm gonna pick this up. I liked the art in it.
So the reason why I picked this cover is because lately I've been looking at the Heritage auction. They're doing posters, movie posters, and so I was looking at them and I realized that there are a lot of posters that have like the solid color. And it was like I was really liking the view of that poster. I'm working on a card set, and I need to make for the card set a mock-up of lobby cards. I don't know if you guys know what lobby cards are. Basically, back in the day with the movies, you had the movie poster, and then in lieu of trailers, you had these cards literally standing in the lobby that would have scenes from the movie. And they were like 8x10 images. So it'll be like the movie logo, and then it'll be a photo of an image of something that happens in it. So it would spotlight the stars of the movie. It would, depending on what kind of movie, it may spotlight the creature and stuff like that. So I'm doing a card set for Puppet Masters, and it's an 80s movie about these horror puppets. And so I'm making movie cards for it. So I'm mocking up some movie cards since they never had them. So I'm like, look, I've been looking at movie cards lately to get inspiration, to get an idea what they're going to look like. And so in the back of my mind, it was like when I saw this cover, it's like that kind of reminds me of some of the movie posters, and I like that solid color going through it.
That one's nicely done. I liked that one too.
Yep. Pretty. And staying on the Godzilla kick, Godzilla versus Power Rangers 2 has gone to print. So this is issue 1 of Godzilla versus Power Rangers.
Okay.
And you know me, I love crossovers.
Right. And that's the last issue of Godzilla War for Humanity too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I know I do have other issues. I just don't know if I have all 5 myself.
Right. I have 3 and 5. Let's see, one that I got this week that was really good and very creepy. Oh, we lost Paulo again. Is the Deviant number 5. I really like this cover too. It's just, this is the one that's about, that's an old serial killer's house who has been in jail. So this is, I just like that kids on the bikes in front of the serial killer's house.
Right.
And the art inside was really nice. Who is this? James Tinian IV is the writer. Joshua Hickson is the artist. And it's got this sort of indie Mazzucchelli style, as I call it. Because it always reminds me of David Mazzucchelli, but as an indie artist, not as a Batman artist.
Right.
And this is the one that's a Christmas noir story. It's about, I think it was like 20 or 30 years ago, there was a serial killer who was caught, thrown in jail. Now our lead character in this is a comic book writer who wants to write a comic book about the serial killer. But there's a question as to whether the serial killer really did it or not, or if he was just blamed for it because he was gay. in a
Right.
time before being gay was acceptable, whenever that was. And it turns out that the comic book writer is also gay, and his discovering of his sexuality as a kid is tied up with this serial killer, because the first time he heard the word gay was describing this serial killer. So he's got this weird psychological connection, because he didn't, he was a kid, and this is him as a kid, by the way, and he didn't know what gay was. He never heard of gay before, but he himself was gay. He knew there was something different about him. So this whole story is this really creepy flashback to him as a kid discovering, I think it's the 90s, because he and his buddy sneak into the kid's house to use his computer to look up the case on the internet. And I think it was during the days of dial-up. Yeah, Yahoo is what he's using. And there's, a really early website there. But then the creepy part starts when the kid and his buddy decide they want to go to the serial killer's house because it's in their town. They want to see what it looks like. And this kid is starting to get creepy himself, because he's being creeped out, because he's kind of attracted. They're both around 12 or 14. I don't know what. He's kind of attracted to his friend, and he's kind of attracted to the serial. So after they break in, and the serial killer also is known as like the Christmas serial killer, because they found these dead boys wrapped up in Christmas lights. So they break into the house, and meanwhile, the kid is like, well, hold on. Like, the kid was the comic book writer. Is like, hold on, I want to try this. And he gets out Christmas lights that he wants to. Now his friend is afraid of him. His friend, who was sort of the alpha of the two of them, is now afraid of this kid because he's scared in this serial killer's house. And the other kid, the comic book writer, is like, it's just a house. It's okay. It's kind of creepy. And like, the house is all destroyed from people wrecking it. So he ends up absolutely frightening his friend by putting a Santa hat and lights on him, which is how the other kid. So it ends with us not knowing if he killed his friend or not, or because meanwhile it flashes to the present, where there's a copycat serial killer who's either framing this comic book writer or is this comic book writer. We don't know yet. So it's like, we don't know what happened with this kid, his friend, who it looks like he was maybe murdering.
Right.
So this issue was really creepy. Good stuff. It's been a good series. Super creepy issue.
What issue number is that?
This is issue number 5 of The Deviant.
Okay.
And what's weird is Hickson, the artist. Does he have a first name? Joshua Hickson. For some reason, the I in his last name is spelled with a lowercase I. All the other letters are uppercase. I'm like, does he do that? Or is that just a design thing they did for this? But it's on the cover. You can see the lowercase I in his name. Oh, there's a lowercase I in Tinian's. That must be the design thing then. I didn't notice that.
It might be a design thing.
That's a design thing then. Okay, that's why the Deviant has a lowercase I in the logo.
Oh, okay.
I get it now.
It might be something there. You might have caught a clue. I'm curious, when they show that website, when they show them on the internet, do they say what website they go to?
It's the twisted mind of the Deviant Killer. That's just the banner. It doesn't show the web address or anything. But it's definitely, an old Windows web browser. And it definitely shows us Yahoo.
I wonder if it's like one of those early Yahoo pages.
And some Comic Sans, I think. Down the bottom there in red. Huh. But it was a good issue of the Deviant. Scary. Probably the scariest issue of them all. Because just when they're making us think that the serial killer who's in jail isn't really guilty, you're starting to think the guy interviewing him is guilty of something. Good morning, Azar. Paulo dropped out on us twice. He must be having internet problems tonight.
Yeah.
Did you get other comics? Show us another one. What did you get?
I also got issue number 9 of Transformers. This is the cover that I picked that has Starscream on it. I need to catch up on them because the first story arc is ended. This is the second issue of, I believe, the next story arc.
You've fallen behind on your reading?
Completely falling behind. What I've been finding, it's been easier for me to read everything on a Saturday. I get up on Saturday morning and just sit there and read a stack of comics.
Read some comics.
And connected to Transformers, I picked up Energon Universe issue number 1. So I'm hoping that maybe this will put together some more information, because I have not read any of the Void Rivals. That's too far into, I think, not more than 9 issues.
Right.
And I have not picked up Duke or Cobra that are also part of this Energon universe. So right now I'm just sticking to the Transformers side of it. I haven't picked up any of the G.I. Joe sides of that Skybound series. So I may just put all those onto my pickup list. It makes it easier than just grabbing it off the rack. Although I do enjoy grabbing it off the rack. And because of budget, there are 2 books that I left on the rack that I wanted to pick up, which was Secret Wars issue number 5.
Okay.
And Crisis number 1. So it's like I think I will pick those up next week.
Right. I actually got I'll have to show you this. An odd piece of art for me. Original and there's a story that kind of explains it. I don't know, back like 5 or 7 years ago, and I've mentioned this before, I lost all my freelance work went away. And I got really broke. Sold a bunch of my a bunch. I sold the handful of comics I had that were worth any money, which really when you go to sell some comics, that really lets you know, 99% of your collection is worthless. Is the Energon Universe a limited series? Do you know that?
I do not know. I in the inside front cover, it mentions the other books: Transformers, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe. But it doesn't give me any information in it. I don't know if this is an original story or if they're taking this out of the regular issues. But it seems like there are 3 chapters in here. The first chapter is a Transformers chapter. The second chapter is a Void Rivals chapter. And the third chapter is a G.I. Joe chapter because it features the Baroness. So I think these are they could very well be 3 stories of that universe.
Eric P says that Energon Special is a free comic book day issue, as I understand it.
It says 2024 special Energon Universe, but it doesn't have the label for free comic book day on it. And it's a $3.99 cover price, so I didn't get it for free. But they may have made a printing of the same book. So I think this might be an introduction to the universe and how things connect. collect all these exciting Energon Universe covers. So they have the various covers on there.
Zara says, usually this time Daniel Warren Johnson is doing live session too. Wow. It's been kind of busy for the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Eric P says it is the free comic book day issue that is for sale. So it was a free comic book day, came out on free comic book day, but you had to pay for it.
Oh, but I did get an email from Marvel and I got, I think, 4 books for free digitally.
Oh, okay.
I did participate in Free Comic Book Day that way. I'm guessing the books Marvel must have been given out were available for digital download. So I did get the email for that.
So as I was saying, 5-7 years ago, sold whatever valuable comics I have, which was only a handful of them.
It is an eye opener.
But recently, since I've been doing better money-wise, I said to myself, you know what? Maybe I should buy some of those comics. So 10 years from now, when I lose all my work, I'll have something to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Sorry, my understanding is that it's the same content that was in a free comic book day issue. Oh, so was it last year's free comic book day one, and then they put it out this year in its own special? That may be it.
That could very well be it, because a lot of the free comic book day comic books are regular stories. It's just a sampler of what's available.
Oh, it's a free comic book day. Hope there's a copy here in Malaysia. Yeah, there's a free version and a $3.99 version. Yeah.
Well, I got the limited edition $3.99 version.
So I was looking for specifically X-Men 94 because that's one I sold, and that's a blue chip book. That if I get it now, I can sell it in 10 years for more money than I paid for it now.
Right.
But I was just looking. I ended up not getting it because it's tough for me to pull the trigger on. They came out a week apart. Okay. It's tough for me to pull the trigger on expensive comic book because I really don't buy expensive comic books.
Right.
So then, after I got bored with that, burnt out on that, I was like, you know what? Let me check the sketch comics. Like, here's one I bought years ago. Here's one I bought years ago. And it's just, it's original art that someone drew on a blank cover. And it's the ones I look at and this one, I was looking at them now. Usually they go from between $50 to $100 to buy one of these. This one was only $20 I got this in 2013. And who's the artist? Thorne Art, THORNE Art, ART. Chris Thorne is the artist. So usually I'm looking at one, like I have no idea who Chris Thorne is, but I like the piece. And for $20, I don't know what the shipping was on it. I don't seem to have that on here. I picked it up. So I was looking for more of these. I don't think I've gotten one in a while. And like I said, most of them I was looking at between $50 and $100 they go for, which, I'm willing to pay for full color artwork. I got no problem with that. Even, $20 was a lot nicer in my wallet. So I had about half a dozen of them, on my wish list. Just, maybe I'll buy them someday. They're just sitting there. And I ran into, like I said, since I was looking at comics, I could, and these have almost no resale value. No one's looking for a Chris Thorne sketch cover. But I like, these are just bought because I like them. And since I was tired of looking at, expensive comic books, I was like, let's get something that I would just buy because I like. And I ended up finding a Bill Tucci slabbed by CB PGX certified. This right here is the Bill Tu. This one over here, I can't even. This one over here is the Bill Tucci drawing. That Wonder Woman.
Right.
And it's verified by PGX. I guess at 9.6, they signed them and slabbed it. And I was like, oh, that's something that I think I could sell for, 10 years from now for whatever I paid for it or more.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so I put that on my wish list. And then they sent me an offer of $20 off it. And so this one ended up costing me, where is it? $91.58, which was about the price for ones that were unslabbed by nobodies.
Right.
So I was like, okay, why not get that one? I like the drawing. I'm not quite sure why it's on a Cliff Chang cover. Cliff Chang art cover, Brian Azzarello story, but it's a PGX signature certified.
Right.
So for 90 and it had $15 shipping on it. So whoever sold this didn't make any money off it, I don't think. But I was just kind of like, all right. So but there's something I would never think I would end up with. A slabbed, certified, sketched book. Put your money in an index stock fund, in my opinion. Your opinion is probably right, but your opinion is also destroying the world. There's the problem I have with those funds. Hedge funds are the bane of our existence. Most of those funds are the bane of our existence. I can understand putting your money in them because it's kind of the safest place to keep your money. But once you dive into them too much, it's also what's causing us to get poorer and poorer. Is the consolidation of money in all those funds. But that's a whole other story. I'm not saying you're wrong. Daniel Warren Johnson was live 40 minutes ago. Darn it, we'll wake up too late again. It's 7:20 a.m. here. Yeah, that's tough to
yeah.
That's tough to do. I was actually looking into buying my own stocks where I don't have to give up my voting rights too. Because when you put money in a hedge fund or any kind of fund, you give them all your voting rights.
Oh, okay.
To the stocks, which is how they control companies.
Right.
Not to our benefit.
No.
Not like I can do anything about it. Not like I have tons of money anyway.
Right.
But that's how I ended up with a Bill Tucci sketch cover. Not even a sketch cover. He's just drawn on Wonder Woman #9 from.
So it's a remark, I believe is
what
they
remark.
call those. Yeah.
See, when is this from? May 2012. I guess this was done in because it says DC 7/12, but the comic itself says May 2012. So I guess this was drawn in July of 2012. But
did Tucci have anything else to do with that book?
I don't know. It's just so weird. That's kind of why I like it too. Kind of why I like it is it's so strange. Such a strange thing. Let's see, another this is one I picked up off the shelf today. Barbaric #1, Born in Blood.
I saw that. I did pick it up. I looked at it, and my initial knee-jerk reaction was is that another Commandy? And it's like I picked it up, looked at it, and I wasn't sure, and I put it back down.
I've read a couple of other Barbaric comics. And they're generally okay. And I'm hesitant to put any of them on my pull list because they're generally just okay. And they're $5 comics, I think. Yeah, $5 comics, but it's got more than 22 pages in it.
Yeah, the cover made me pick it up because of the extra coloring, because that was a 5th and maybe a 6th color.
No, I don't think so. I think that's just a regular. I think that's just a regular purple. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's out.
Okay, I thought it was what I. You know what? It might have just been the combination of the way the coloring was in that book that it did make me pick it up. So it almost looked like
especially bright.
Yes.
But I'm not sure if it's. I don't think it's a Pantone color, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
But it was good. Like I said, it was good for picking up off the shelf.
So it did make me pick it up, but I didn't hold on to it. I think it was the price tag that made me go, I'll put this one down and get something else.
I think I only had 4 or 5 comics this week.
Okay.
So I was like, I could throw one more on there. So that's what I ended up doing. And it was a good, I'm not putting it on my pull list. I'm not ordering any more issues. Maybe if I see one on the shelf, which I don't know if I will, I'll pick it up. That's like well, Sleepy Reader was just, he really liked Savage Sword of Conan #2, which I never got to see because once again, I bought Savage Sword of Conan #1 and it was just okay. So I didn't order #2 or put it on my pull list. I was like, if I see it on the shelf, I'll give it a look through and see if it's okay. Paolo's back. Hello there, Paolo. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. The computer wanted to update something, but I don't know what it was.
You just missed my long story of how I ended up buying a Billy Tucci slabbed comic with a Billy Tucci sketch on it, the cover. For $90. Which just seems awfully cheap to me for a slabbed comic with a Billy Tucci sketch on it. That's why I ended up getting it. Verified by PGX.
PGX? Is that new?
What was that?
Is that new?
No, they've been around for a while. They're like the second-rate
the second
CBC.
or third.
They may be third rate.
They may be the third out of what's available for slabbing. I think they're the third company on the poll.
Who's the other ones? There's
CBCS.
CBCS, that's it. Yeah, PGX is the. But I was like, all right. Because I was looking at other books, blank cover. Well, this one isn't actually a blank cover. Blank covers with drawings on them by nobodies, and they usually go between $50 and $100. I bought some before, so I was like, okay, I'll get that one. They sent me a deal on it too. Yeah, Sleepy said Savage Sword of Conan 2 was miles better. I wish there was a shelf copy that I could have looked at it because I was looking to buy it after Sleepy's review of it. Who is the bottom rung slabber of last resort? PGX. I got a PGX slab now. But I don't think the slabber matters in this case because it's all about the sketch on the comic itself. But that was just kind of a impulse buy when I was looking to get art. So I've been looking to get art in the last month. And speaking of, there's another. I already have this art. My reread of the week has been David Lapham, Silverfish by Vertigo. Where's Vertigo? Vertigo. This came out back in 2007. It's this weird, I guess this is like magazine size, shrunken down.
I don't remember this.
It was not a comic. It was, it wasn't in individual issues. Let me show you that. It was always in this hard, I don't even know if they ever put a soft cover out of it. Black and white. This, typical Lapham crime story. It's about this this teenage girl who's got a new stepmother, and she's suspicious of her stepmother. Once again, it's a regular piece of people getting involved with criminals. So this teenage girl and her friends are trying to figure out what's going on with her creepy new stepmother, who the teenage girl doesn't like. And so they when the stepmother and the father go away for the weekend, the teenage girl finds a bag of money and a bloody knife in the closet. And in another place, she finds her stepmother's address book. So they start calling people. And it's named the Silverfish. It's named Silverfish, because this guy who's the killer thinks he has fish in his head giving him orders. That was such a minor part of the story that it was weird that they named the whole thing after it. And it's about, the stepmother getting her past figured out, puts her and the kids in danger. There's all sorts of chases and murders going on and fun stuff like that. And I think that's a fifth color. That's a Pantone color. That pink, I'm pretty sure is. Oh, and I think it's fading. Because look at that. Look at the spine that faces outward.
Yeah.
And look at right here, this corner, where that pink is fading into that orange. I think that used to be that pink.
And that would be the side of the shelf that would be shown to the light.
Right. It's fading right there, too. And it's not even in direct sunlight. Wow, that Pantone is not permanent. Well, I just found out that, too, that, those Pantone chips that you can get, when a Pantone will sell you, and it costs hundreds of dollars, like samples of all the different Pantone inks on paper. For those who don't know, Pantone inks are like a special ink that printers can use to print with. Like this pink right here, you can't get that color pink in a normal comic. It's just not possible in the CMYK spectrum. A normal comic, you can't print that bright color pink. It doesn't exist in the color spectrum. But Pantone makes special inks where they'll go in, and it costs extra to have that pink printed there. And in order to so you get a sample of all their stuff, they'll sell you like a little book that has all different samples of the Pantone colors in it. And that little book costs hundreds of dollars. And I just found out that with their those books are only guaranteed for 3 to 5 years. After that, wow. Pantone does not guarantee the color on that book is the color that will print. Probably just because of this.
Because of that reason.
Just because of that reason. We can see that pink is disappearing into orange.
For people to know, when we say fifth color, is because that's the next color that's being paid for.
Right. The 4 colors are CMYK: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Basically red, yellow, and blue and black. Those are your 4 colors that make, which is why they call them 4-color comics.
Right.
Those are the 4 colors that make up all the colors you see as in a comic. Mm-hmm. As Wilson said, if you want a special color.
Right, it's the 5th color, and then you would see those on various comic covers.
Yeah.
That were done over the years, where it's a hot pink or a bright red that it almost looks fluorescent.
Yeah, silver.
Basically, silver.
Metallic silver and gold. We see
gold
those a lot.
Gold is used a lot. And glow in the dark is one of those that
would be that'd be a 5th color. The varnish that I'm always putting on those bad idea comics, that's considered a 5th. They call it, they have to bring it to a whole other machine to put it in. That's why it's called a 5th color or another plate. Right. Let's see. Azar says, is Tom King Wonder Woman good? I haven't read it. I'm okay with the other Tom King books. Kind of don't understand his approach to Batman City of Bane. Thomas Wayne thingy.
Okay, let me explain every Tom King book that has ever been written. Tom King hates his wife, but can't live without her. That's it.
He wants to trap her in a romance comic. That's the one I read. I think is Sleepy Reader was saying one of his favorite books recently was, I forget which Batman it was. No, I don't think the Batman that's being drawn by Allred. I don't think that's the Tom King one. That's the one he likes. Sleepy. I don't remember the name of it though.
Batman 66?
No. He was drawing that one a while ago, but there's a new Batman series. Has Paulo read Tom King? Not saying he's wrong.
Yes. Yes. I did not finish Mr. Miracle, and I didn't get past issue number 1 of what was that?
Vision?
The Space Hero. No, the Space Hero.
That's Mark Russell writing Batman Dark Ages. That's the Michael Allred one I was referring to that Sleepy likes.
Adam Strange. I didn't get past issue number 1.
Fugitive Starfish.
But it was obvious that he was recycling whatever crap he had done on Mr. Miracle. And of course, Heroes in Crisis was the worst idea in the history of comics. The worst, even worse.
Worst idea ever.
Yes. Even worse than what was previously considered the worst comic ever, the one in haiku that Marvel put out in 1990. Street poetry. Street poetry is actual poetry when compared to Tom King writing corporate characters.
Sleepy Reader says good decision on Adam Strange.
Yeah,
but a lot of people liked that. Or am I thinking of another one?
I couldn't. Vision was kind of weird, so I didn't finish it. I bought Omega Man, and I guess I didn't mind what happened in Omega Man because they had been out of commission for so long that you can consider it a reimagining.
Right.
But after reading the other Tom King material, I finally understood what is it that was bugging me about Omega Man. Which is, Tom King likes to insert himself into stories, but instead of turning himself into the invincible hero who gets the girl, it turns himself into a basket case. And
that was the one I was thinking of. Sleepy says King's issues worked well on Human Target, though. That's the one everyone liked. I remember.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't believe that Tom King suffers from PTSD from his CIA days. He was a data analyst. He was not in action.
But all those numbers, just numbers.
His PTSD is because his wife left him.
Eric P. liked Human Target and Danger Street. I go back to Tit Coblin's joke because I didn't get it in. Let's see. Fugitive Starfish, hint the Fugitive Ink joke. The one-armed man killed that pink color's wife. And to tie in with Silverfish, I have a page of original art from it. Here is Silverfish. Says page 107, but it's actually page 111 in the book. But I bought this many years ago. Probably bought it around 2007, maybe a couple of years afterward. That's the killer right there, talking to one of the teenage girls on the phone. And if you notice, I guess it's done smaller on a piece of page because of the smaller size of the book. He was drawn. But at the bottom here, we've got some sketches of a phone.
Oh, cool.
And let me show you the page in here.
So is the page missing that last panel, or that's just the size
No,
of
that's
the page?
he was just drawing smaller because the book was smaller.
Oh, okay.
So since it was a different proportion,
Right.
he just drew out that proportion on this page and drew it. I guess that's 1.5 times up.
Yeah, it looks it because it's magazine size, I guess.
Yeah, and this is the one I got this page directly from him on eBay, and he didn't send it to me. He just forgot to send it out. So then I finally got in touch with him, and so he sent me this extra drawing. No respect to Jared Best, David Lapham. There's the silverfish. And
Nice.
with the drawing, he sent me an autographed copy of Stray Bullets #1.
Huh.
To make up for the fact that he just forgot to send it.
Fantastic.
Just didn't send it. I was like, whoops. At least he didn't send it to someone else. That happened with the Jose Garcia Lopez pages I bought. 2 pages from Twilight, which Jose Garcia Lopez drew and Howard Chaykin wrote, that I bought them from somebody on eBay. He sent them to somebody else, not to me.
I've done that. I've made that mistake. Sending out 2 items at the same time and sending out an item to the wrong person. And what it was when I printed out the sheet, somehow it printed double. So at some point, someone contacted me and was like, I never received that graphic novel. And I went searching and it's like, all right, let me check. And it's like, could not figure out. There's no record of it being sent out to this guy who paid for it. So I went searching and then I realized the only thing that could have possibly happened was this book got sent out to the wrong person. So I went searching and I ended up contacting that other person. It's like, did you happen to get this particular book? And sure enough, he did, and he was kind enough. I mean, I paid for it, but he was kind enough to send it back to me so I could send it to the right person.
The guy who got my art, he got him to send it back to him, and then he sent it to me. And it turns out the guy I bought them from is a comic book artist. What was his name? And he sent me a page of his comic, which was he drew a couple issues of Starman, the James Robinson one. What was his name? Richard Pace, I think, because there's a Richard Case who's drawing now, but I think this was Richard Pace, who I never knew his name. I only read Starman. As a matter of fact, I think I only read Starman after I got those pages. The page he sent me for free. He's like, for messing up, here's a page of Starman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Richard Pace was more superheroes and Richard Case was more the Vertigo stuff.
Yeah, I think Richard Case is still around. I just saw something by him recently, but I don't know about Richard Pace. But I think it was Richard Pace who, it turns out he was the one who sold them to me and sent me a page of his artwork. So I have a random page of Starman in there.
Okay, I think I did something at Wildstorm back in the day when Wildstorm was still at Image.
These artists forget you a lot, Jared, don't they? Maybe the Lapham art will help with your retirement. Probably not. Most of the art I buy is not resaleable, but who knows? True. Other King books mentioned loving it. Okay. Is Lapham doing any new comics? He's been doing a lot of stuff for Bad Idea. So I've gotten to see a lot of his stuff, but some of it's like right now he's got like a 4-issue series from Bad Idea, but I have no idea when it's going to print. And I think a lot of the stuff he's done for Bad Idea in the last year, I have no idea when it's going to see print. So he's still doing stuff, and he's also doing a series for Boom right now called Underheist. Lapham currently has Underheist. There we go. That's Eric P. But he's got he right now is working on a Bad Idea comic because I'm doing the production on it and stuff. Aha! Now I have King issues and what he's conveying in Batman. Yeah, so David Lapham actually has done a lot of stuff for Bad Idea. But I don't know how much has gotten out there.
Yeah, Lapham's it's kind of strange that Lapham it's probably one of the biggest examples of somebody who missed out on a great career. Because
he's working steady.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing. It's like it's like he's keeping Jefferson Airplane alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bill Crabtree is coloring Lapham's Bad Idea book, I think. I think he's coloring one of them. The one that's going on that I'm doing production on right now doesn't have any color set up for it yet. So I think I remember he was just doing what's happening to, I think he just colored one of his short stories. What Bad Idea has been doing for the last, 6 months or so, they haven't had any stuff in comic shops, but they have been doing some short run publishing for conventions. So they've had like a convention presence and a new or newly colored comic for the I think I just saw Bill Crabtree's name on I forget which one it was. It was like an 8 or 10 page Lapham story that I think Bill Crabtree just colored, that they just printed up for one of the cons Bad Idea was doing. So I think that's what he colored. He might be coloring more stuff. I'm not sure, but I think I saw his name on one of those. But that's what they've been mostly getting out, some short run stuff for conventions. Sleepy says Lapham should have had a career more like Brubaker. Maybe. I agree with Paulo. Probably doesn't market himself the way Brubaker does. Well, Lapham's always been an indie guy. He's had his shot. He had a shot at Batman, but it was just not very good.
If he had published Stray Bullets somewhere else other than by himself,
well, he did with Image for years,
but not from the beginning. And by the time he went to Image, it was after the market crash.
Well, he did well by himself in the 90s, but you're right. He's never had, to me, he's had a good career in that I've always bought his stuff. But I know what you mean. He's never been a name.
He's the type of guy that if he was a musical artist, you'd think of him as a one-hit wonder. But then you visit his Wikipedia page and you find out he's been putting out a new album every 2 years for the last 20 years.
I think he's more like in the late 90s when the comics were in a bad place. And I remember someone saying the healthiest part of comics were those artists, creators who had their 10,000 fans and were self-publishing or whatever, like a Terry Moore. I think David Lapham is in that category. He's always got his 10,000 fans to buy his book, and he can do okay, but he's never been a name at Marvel or DC kind of thing. He's got his 10,000 fans, but he's never had a name that would move the needle at Marvel or DC or anywhere else for that matter. But I'm always buying. I'm one of his 10,000 fans. Tit Goblin says, to get through the winter, I've been selling collections, selling everything plus possibly my house. Ooh, how does everyone envision getting rid of their collections? Arts. I have no idea. I've been wondering that myself. I've got a lot of artwork that I've made sitting around here.
I've been slowly trying to sell them on eBay to get rid of some of the stuff that I have. I'm finding that one at a time is just taking way too long. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to. I find that putting bundles of stuff together seems to work well. To more to get rid of, and it's one of those cases where I've seen what happens to when a person passes and they leave all their stuff. The building doesn't care. They get a dumpster and all that stuff gets dumped. And so, again, is I don't want to leave a junk pile for my family to deal with.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to toss them. So, I think if you come into the mindset that you're never going to make the money you spent on these items back, it lessens the blow when you do get rid of them for whatever price you get rid of them for. And I've made some money. I've sold Spider-Man 300 at the time, and it made good money at the time.
Stuff
it would
like
have
that.
made more if I sold it now. But again, you end up keeping it to the point where you never know when these are going to go. Like when I was selling some of my old Toy Biz toys, I got good money for them when I sold them. Now, they're not going for all that much. So it's that you never know what's going to be at the best price possible.
Yeah, there's stuff I will want to get rid of that it's like even hard to get rid of because no one what immediately comes to mind is the 50 issues of Ex Machina I have. I'm never going to read Ex Machina again. I've wanted to get rid of it for years, but it's hard to find someone to take them. And the worst customers on eBay are the ones who are looking for something for nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to sell it'd be less trouble to throw those 50 issues in the garbage than to sell them for $5 on eBay just because I want to get rid of them. To the person I sell them for $5 for, there's probably more chance he's going to complain and bother me than if I were to sell them for $5,000. So it's just kind of like, the act of actually getting rid of them is trouble. Let's see, what do we have here? Lapham had also in the last couple of years did some DC backup work on it. Back in the early 2000s, he was the detective writer and artist. And it wasn't very good. Look at the big crime guys from the 90s, Lapham, Brubaker, and Bendis. Who has the most money? Who has the critical praise? Yeah. When you compare him to those guys also stopped drawing. Lapham's still an artist. Those guys stopped drawing. Each new Brubaker and Phillips book in his event. Lapham's work just sneaks onto the market. I think people have Brubaker and Phillips fatigue now, but I know what you mean. Statistically, your collection as a whole isn't an investment. No. And it just may be thrift store junk overall. 100%. 100%.
Yep. If you're lucky, you'll find somebody who is looking for a complete or almost complete collection of Ex Machina, and you can and you can make life easier for both yourself and the guy selling it for a decent price.
Right. If only that guy existed.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to get rid of my issues of John Sable freelance. I don't need them. I'm never going to read them again. I haven't looked at them since the 80s.
I have
They ain't that good. What was that?
I have the trade, otherwise I'd get.
Comic Crack says, my comic shop guy says that the general rule, 10% of a collection, if you're lucky, is worth something. The other 90% is dollar bin at best. Yes. Black and White, Lapham, Terry Moore, Hernandez Brothers never gets the praise it deserves. Never gets that. Which reminds me, there's a new issue of Love and Rockets out. Another thing I got this week. That's the Jaime cover. That's the Beto cover, back cover. I enjoyed it thoroughly. What do we have in here? These usually are like pieces of story. It starts out with a Beto story, his like superhero women story. He's got this group of super women. That's like a superhero story he's been telling for a while. Of course, it's got the beautiful Jaime Hernandez artwork. And then we go into Beto's Palomar story. By the way, he always tells you down the bottom, extra thick borders indicate a flashback, so it's easy to keep track of. See that? Even if you don't use a caption, you can do that, and we can keep track of it. We don't have to... So we get a Palomar story, and then we flash back to a current Maggie story. I think Maggie's like the middle-aged woman on the beach, and there's all these. There's Maggie right there, and now there's all these like young women around her who the story is about. So it's like funny that since they've aged almost in real time, Maggie is old. Then it switches back to another Palomar story from Beto. And then we finish up this chapter of our, we get one more Jaime story? Yeah, we end up, we go back to our superhero one. So they really mix it up in these issues. That's why I say, as much as I like them and as much as I enjoyed reading this issue, I would never tell like someone if they wanted to start reading Love and Rockets to pick up these issues. They'll be lost because they don't hold your hand. Oh, and that was what was interesting. In Barbaric #1 that I was talking about before, there was actually a 2-page recap at the beginning of the story. End recap. That's the first time I've seen a recap at the beginning of a story in a while. I was like, that was kind of cool. Caught me up because I don't read it regularly.
Did they draw new artwork for the recap?
I think so. Yeah, they even did.
That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was a recap until it ended. I was like, oh, okay. I'm pretty sure it's new artwork, at least. But I was like, cool, a recap. I feel like it's the 1970s. Maybe that's why Lapham's latest Underheist is in color, Gus. Yeah, we'll see. That's what he was saying. Black and white never gets the money. But here's another story of me buying. I don't have it yet. But I was watching, who was it? Mercenauts channel. I don't know if you guys know him. He does a Sunday night show now with a couple of friends. Hot Book Alert, I think it is, where they just show whatever random hot comics they ran into that week. They're always like, this isn't really what's hot in the market. This is just the stuff we happen to run into. But Mercenaut, for years, has done a show where he shows off the comics he got. And he's one of these guys who likes to, buy low and sell high. And he drives hours. I don't know where he lives, but he like takes weekend, and I think he drives for work sometimes too. But he'll go like on a Saturday trip where he drives for 6 hours, 3 hours there and 3 hours back and hits a few comic shops. I'm just like, I can't even imagine that, looking for bargain books or whatever. And one of the ones he got was Crossfire number 12. Do you guys, it's a Dave Stevens cover with Marilyn Monroe on it. And he was saying he got a copy of it. I think he said, he's like, I wouldn't sell this one for less than $200. And I know that cover has gotten hot. It's always the cover that's missing out of the Crossfire series. And I was like, oh, how much is it? So I looked it up. That book goes for anywhere from $300 to $600. Like a CGC 9.8 goes for $600. And I was like, I better go check the one that's on my shelf. So I did. And this is the cover. And mine is in really, really good shape. There's like I put it in Mylar too. It was in its old 1980s bag. But there's no spine ticks on it. It's got really crisp corners. I don't know what grade it would get, but the cover is close to a 9.8 because I bought it in the 80s. I think I read it twice, and it's just been sitting on my shelf for all these years. So I was like, what, I like put it in. I was like, I better put, like I said, it was in the same bag from the 1980s.
Right.
What the fuck? I got that one as well. Might be time to do another slab. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, and not only there's another show. I don't know if you guys know TiVo. He's been a YouTuber for a long time. But he does a show on the hot books of the week too. But his is really a hot book show. It's not just, they're actually affiliated with some comic shop too. So they like scour sales for the week and show off what were the hottest one. And it was same writer, the series DN Agents from the 80s. Mark Evanier and Will. Oh, I just learned how to say his name and now I can't remember it. It's a French name. I always say Will Mignot.
Will Mignot.
Will Mignot. Is it Will Mignot?
Yeah.
Will Mignot. The very last issue of the series has a Dave Stevens cover. There's a pretty woman on the cover. I have that here too somewhere. I'm gonna have to track it down because for some reason I don't know where it is. I have to look in my database. But a 9.8 of that DN Agents cover just went for $700. It's like, what? I'll have to look at that one too.
It is wild where there have been books popping up where it's like, it's worth how much?
Yeah.
Why?
Like this...
There was nothing going on with that book for years. You know how many times you could pick up a Dazzler #1 for $1, and
that
then
thing
all
had
of a sudden,
500,000 copies printed.
Yeah, and then now Dazzler #1 seems to be something, just on the rumor that she's going to be in the Deadpool movie.
But it looks like there might be a beginning of a little spine roll starting to. I don't know. It's tough to tell, but I'd get that pressed out.
Yeah.
But this is a really sharp copy, I gotta say. I had no idea because I haven't looked at it in a long time. I have no idea. Like I said, there might be some flaws on the back cover. I don't know. I didn't look at the back cover, but I was like, wow, that's really crazy how much that one is going for.
So are you going to send that out to get CGC'd?
I've never sent anything out to get CGC.
That's why it sounds interesting because it's like you've never done it before.
I've never done it before.
Does your comic book shop offer that service?
I think they do. But that led me to, here's Crossfire #1. No one cares about Crossfire #1.
Right.
Right.
This and here's the 1980s bag.
Yep, it looks like it.
Needs to be replaced. But in looking up that one, I ended up buying a slabbed 9.4 Crossfire #1 only because with shipping and tax, it was $28.
Amazing.
I was just like, I know I'm paying $28 for a $5 comic, but I was just like, all right, I'm going to throw that in my worthless CGC pile. I was like, $28 for a CGC book? That's nuts. Someone really took a bath on that. First of all, slabbing Crossfire #1.
Uh-huh.
And another thing that came up, which I didn't buy because it was $40-something. Human Fly #4. The name of the story on that and on the cover copy is Crossfire. So when this came up, when I've searched for Crossfire #1, all these slabbed Human Fly #4s came up. There must have been a dozen of them, all for anywhere between, shipped around $50. I was like, no thanks.
Right.
But I was like, why is anyone slabbing Human Fly #4? I mean, I would slab Crossfire #1 over Human Fly #4, but I'm like, wasn't even a particularly interesting cover or anything. But I was just that was just a weird thing that came up as I was looking for that Crossfire, and this Crossfire came up, and there was like hardly any Crossfire #1 slabbed, but Human Fly #4s, plenty of. Crossfire. But yeah, I've got that. I'll hopefully I'll be able to show that next week. My CGC Crossfire #1 for $28. Azar says, true, Lapham should follow Terry Moore's footsteps, talking about 90s writer artists. An update on Matt Wagner, Paul Pope, Charles Burns. Matt Wagner put out that updated version of Grendel. He's still working. Charles Burns I just saw something. He's been working in France. His latest series has been released. I can't remember if it was released in Spanish or French. I think it was released in Spanish. I don't know the name of it. I think we talked about it once here like a year or two ago. Because I remember Paulo telling me what the Spanish word meant, but I can't remember it now. And there's 3 volumes of it now, and it was just released in French. Because I saw it on Twitter, people going, ooh, all 3 volumes are in French. Yeah, Charles Burns has a new graphic novel in the fall. That's the one. It's already done in Spain and France. And it's being released, I think, in 1 volume here. So he's still working, just not in the United States first. Paul Pope, I haven't seen in years anything by him. Have you guys seen anything by Paul Pope?
Not that I don't pay attention.
Battling Boy was the last thing I remember. That was a long time ago. Gore Vidal, anything with the Dave Stevens cover is hot now. Yeah, even Cheval Noir books. Some of those selling for hundreds of dollars. Yeah, it's crazy what the Dave Stevens covers are going for. I think X-Men 97 episodes might be up. That era of X might up the price on those X era books a bit. Yeah, it could. Not big numbers, but I bet people are buying them because of what's happening each week. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
TV, True Tit Goblin, just returned from my shop where 90s X-Men comics tied to the series are selling well and up in price. Yeah, TV will do that.
Yep. I have to pull out those Onslaught issues. Yeah, I'm guessing that's where they're going.
It amazes me that Fantagraphics isn't publishing those those Charles Burns books first. because they were usually his publisher. But I don't know who it is in Spain that's his publisher now. And why? Is he particularly big in Spain? I don't know.
It could be.
Yeah.
At least among the crowd who are into indie books.
I mean, Black Hole is certainly a famous, well-regarded book. So that, who knows? Just got a Paul Pope variant cover for Batman Dark Ages #2. Oh, cool. Paul Pope variant. Crossfire in a slab. All my slabs are just weird. You got that PGX slab this week to show off. I got those clone slabs. I got that Mr. X #1 slab. All cheap and all weird. Matter of fact, the PGX one was the most expensive slab I've got so far. But if I do end up buying an X-Men 94 or whatever, I will buy the slabbed version of it. Because you just can't trust the grading from pictures on YouTube. You just can't. And they're not looking for less money than a slabbed version, I have to say. It's like a 6.0 slabbed X-Men 94 goes anywhere from $450 to $600. People are looking for it. People with 6.0s unslabbed are looking for the same. And it's like, okay.
Yep. I was always worried about that people would just start looking at the slab numbers and think, that must be the same number for raw copies. And it's like, no, not at all.
Final Cut is the name of the book. 224 pages, according to Amazon. It's about an artist's dark obsessions. Yeah, Final Cut was not the name of it in Spanish. I would remember that. But yeah, and it was 3 volumes, which makes sense if they're around 64 pages. Maybe a little more. That's 180 pages right there out of the 224. Let's see. New Usagi Yojimbo came out. And this one was a lot about, what's his cousin's name again? Yuichi? Did I finally remember it? Let me see if I did. Where is it? But he got Yukichi, not Yuichi. In the first issue of this, Yukichi and Usagi ran across this guy being harassed by bandits, they thought, and they helped save him. And it turned out that guy was a bad guy, which they found out when they went to town. And 2 of Usagi's buddies, who are bounty hunters, the rhino and the dog, his name Lone Pup, and I can't remember their names now, were there, which made Yukichi kind of go, Yukichi's like a samurai. He is honor. He doesn't want to be a bounty hunter. He thinks it has no honor. So he's like, you guys, and even Usagi was like, we can pick up a bounty here and there. And he's young, the cousin. He's like 19, right out of sword school. So he like wandered off being mad at him. And so the bandits captured him. And then here's something neat that I didn't notice. That, you know how to the samurai, the sword was his soul? Well, Yukichi is captured and tied up by these bandits. And the one of them used to be a samurai. And so Yukichi yells at him, and you dishonor my swords? The swords are the soul of a samurai. Your soul is black and corrupted. So then the guy says, you arrogant fool, you think so highly of your swords? And this is what I'm going to do. So he broke Yukichi's sword. And then, as a message to Usagi, he sent the sword to him, broken. And then I thought that was kind of cool. When I looked back at the cover, Yukichi's has his sword broken on the cover.
Right.
Even before it was actually broken in the story. So they were actually doing some symbolic stuff on that cover with him with his sword broken. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You don't usually see. I've never noticed anything like that. Well, they've never broken a samurai sword before in Usagi. So that was an interesting little twist. 40 years. Holy cow. I've been buying Usagi for about 40 years, too. Time just keeps marching on. Has there been any comic you think you've been buying for 40 years?
Amazing Spider-Man is about it, but I did stop for a while.
Yeah.
So that was the only one that and I probably would have kept buying it if the comic book shop didn't close down.
Yeah.
It was my main source of getting it. And once they closed down, I kind of took a break altogether from comics. So that would have been probably the only one that would have been consistent.
I think
and even that book itself wasn't consistent because they went through its own reboots.
Well, it went from different publishers, but it's been consistently published.
Yeah. No. What I mean was
Usagi, not Spider-Man.
Right. No,
Spider-Man.
I'm talking about Spider-Man.
Right. And Usagi's been done by one guy, so
yeah,
you still like that one. Like I think I started buying Love and Rockets regularly in 1988. I would think 87, probably. Let's say 88. So that's been, what's that? 36 years. I've been buying Love and Rockets. There have been some comics I've been buying for a while.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else is up there. Terry Moore comics I've been buying. I probably didn't start buying Terry Moore comics till 92. I don't know what year Strangers in Paradise started. But I think I finally started buying it regularly with around issue 18. So maybe a good 2 years in. But that's a lot of, man, time just keeps moving forward, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's only a few people who've been constant with their stuff.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
I've
been buying that regularly since issue 70, I think.
Can you count Spawn? Because Todd kind of stopped drawing it and then drew
I
it
haven't
and
been
then
buying it. So.
Okay.
I'm just talking. Yeah, I only started buying Spawn recently. So.
Oh, okay.
Tit Goblin says, I've been reading most Ninja Turtle comics since 1990. What does most mean? Did you stop? Comic Crack says, The Soul of a Samurai was a good issue. Yeah, that was a good issue. I saw they launched a new Turtles comic this week. Turtles Black, White, and Green, I think it is the name of it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I almost bought Turtles, what was it, 150? Was that the latest milestone issue to come out of Turtles, 150?
I think it was.
Because they were on like the road to 150, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy 150 just for the heck of it. Then it was $10. And I was like, $10 is too expensive just for the heck of it.
Yeah, because there's something called Ninja Turtles Alpha. That's another title. And then they're focusing on the fifth turtle, Jenica. That's another title. I'm just reading the back of the ads of
Okay.
Godzilla War of Humanity, and then the back ad is the issue 1 of the Black, White, and Green series.
That's some. It looked pretty nice.
I know that they're launching, if they haven't already, The Last Ronin 2. I believe continues their story.
Aren't they also doing one that led up to it? Or have they done that already?
I don't know. They may be. They could very well be working on that, but I do not know.
Yeah, I think there might be one that's leading up to it.
It was giveaway book a couple of weeks back for IDW Turtle stuff. Let's see if I have that available. Here we go.
Comic Crack says, I grabbed a copy of Black, White, and Green. Looked pretty good. Yeah. It looked all right. I almost grabbed it, but I went with Barbaric instead.
So this was a giveaway I got from the comic book shop a week or two ago.
Oh, is that no? That's not the one with the pizzas flying around at the Usagi.
No, this is not the pizza one.
Okay. Jason Aaron and who is that? Jason Aaron and Jolie Jones. Oh.
So I think this would be the cover of the relaunch book, issue 1. And so they're variant covers, of course.
Oh, yep.
And then there's a cover to be revealed, 40th anniversary celebration book. That's an 84 pager, $11.99.
$11.99. Whew.
More books available. So it looks like they're reprinting number 1, of course. Compendiums. So it looks like they're going to compendium all the various little universes. IDW collection. Compendium of the original books. Compendium of the Saturday morning series, which I think is still going on. Yes, so there is a Saturday morning version of the books as well. Here's a cover to issue 3 of Black, White, and Green.
Oh, cool.
So it looks like a nice noir detective story, or at least the cover is anyway.
Huh. There's that single striking color that made you buy Godzilla.
So I may buy that one because of that, because of the striking cover. There's just something about that I like. I like the simplicity of it, but it works so well. There's a cover.
It helps if there's a good drawing too.
Yeah, definitely. That helps a lot. So it looks like that takes place in the cartoon universe.
Yeah, that the one with Usagi in it, I think, is the new Saturday morning cartoon series, right?
It very well could be. I have not picked that up, so I have not seen it.
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet, but I think that's what it was advertising with Usagi on the cover was the Saturday morning cartoon verse. Let's see. Tit Goblin's got a question for Paulo. Paulo, I just read that one of my favorite artists, David Chloe, just finished his move to Portugal. Is Portugal the new artist hub?
It is because it's cheap. It's cheap to live for people from North America.
Yeah.
David Cho. What was David Cho doing? He's usually being mentioned, but I don't know what he was doing. Yeah, because there was another the guy who did Legion Lost. What was his name?
Legion Lost. Don't know.
Oh, Olivier Coipel. He lived in Lisbon for a while a few years ago.
I imagine if you want to move to Portugal because it's cheaper, Lisbon isn't the place to go.
No, not in Lisbon. In fact, a guy from Brazil. He's an indie Brazilian artist. He's definitely not a Mike Deodato clone. In fact, he does he either does autobiographical stuff or he adapts Dostoevsky books into graphic novels. He moved to Braga in the north of the country because it was cheaper.
Also, Paul Grist, Jack Staff. Is he still doing the comic?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Paul Grist do anything in a while.
He did something fairly recently. He brought back some of the UK comics heroes. So something with the Spider and Robot Archie.
Okay, because I usually buy his stuff and I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, but it wasn't drawn by him; it was just written.
Okay.
So,
maybe then
you probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, I might have skipped it then if I noticed it.
Yeah. Okay. What is it? Yeah, it's called Smash.
Smash. Is it an indie book or?
It's published by Rebellion.
Okay.
So it was probably serialized in 2000 AD first.
Tit Goblin says he's a fine comics artist. Slow jams. He's a billionaire. The Facebook stock graffiti guy. Oh, that's David Chase, David Chloe. Okay.
Cho.
Yeah,
David Cho.
David Cho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got plenty of cash. Plenty of cash. He can move anywhere he wants.
Yep. In the meantime, they've announced the list of guests and exhibits for the next comic convention in Portugal, which is in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
And nobody that you know because they're all French. We have Javier Rodriguez, who's been drawing Spider-Man. He's from Spain. And Miguel Ancho Prado is also from Spain. Is the Latin Kafka. Imagine if Kafka was funny. It's Miguel Ancho Prado. And our mouse's favorite, Jacques Tardy.
I got some Jacques Tardy just recently. I think I've shown some last week or the week before. I can't remember.
The other guys you don't know. A lot of Portuguese artists have.
There's a Comic-Con at in somewhere in New Jersey at a high school that Fabian Nicieza will be at, along with Dave Sharp and Darren Auk, who Wilson, Dave and Darren were still there when you were there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Dave's a longtime letterer, still lettering stuff out there. You'll find his name on all sorts of things. Darren's an artist and was Marvel's art director for a while too.
I've worked with both of them. David had taught me lettering.
Yep.
I've worked for David lettered my first comic book, Team Kaiju. So he lettered that issue. And Darren was one of the first people to draw a pinup of my characters from Team Kaiju. So both of those guys I've connected to completely from back in the day.
Yeah.
Darren would be the one I would like bring artwork to and say, bring my own artwork to and have him critique it and show me pointers and stuff like that. Yeah.
He did a lot of nice layouts for covers too.
Yeah.
When he was I think he was assistant art director under Golden, and Golden left, he was art director. And he used to, much like Maurice Severin would do layouts for covers, he would do layouts for covers too for artists, various artists in the late 90s. He was good at it too. He was good at sort of doing classic comic book cover layouts. Good stuff. What? Want to do a Reed, Rip, and Slab before we go?
Yeah. Sure.
Someone pick a decade. What do we want? 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s?
Let's do 40s.
Let's go all the way back
Go
to the
all the way
40s.
back to the beginning.
That's right.
When
We'll
they were
go to the-
making it all up on as they went.
Well, let's go to the earliest one I have, which is January Captains, 1943. Let's see. Present.
There were no
Sometimes
rules
I
back
come
then,
up with a
they were
theme.
making it up.
Here are our captains. Captain America 24, Captain Midnight 5, and Captain Marvel Adventures. I don't have a number on that one for some reason. Number 20, there it is. Somehow the number fell off the label down the bottom. On sale every third Friday. 40s covers are good. Yeah, and these are some good ones.
Wow. I can't even.
Double Trouble in Tokyo. Look, pals, here's a special thrill for you. Black Dragon Society.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Was Captain Midnight published by Fawcett?
Captain Midnight. I don't know.
So they have like the same 10 cents logo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Plus the way the cover copies put on the cover is similar.
Yeah.
It must have been.
I like that Captain Midnight cover. That's going to be the one to get slabbed.
I'm going to read it. And I'm slabbing Captain America.
Because he loves the yellow peril. Literally colored yellow.
Okay, so that's not a Schomburg, but...
No, it's not. I don't know who that is, though, because that head is throwing me off.
Yeah. America 24. What were the covers? Captain America 24.
When did Kirby and...
I think they only did the first 10 issues.
Yeah, yeah. It was long gone. At this stage, you would be doing by commandos.
I was just wondering if if there was like the initial guys who took over, but no, this is well into it. Let's see. Tit Goblin. It's going to read America. No, probably rip America. Read Marvel. Slab Midnight. Dolphin those Spitfire planes.
Yeah, I would definitely slap Captain Midnight. That's my favorite cover of them all. I'll read Captain Marvel. And unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to rip Captain America. But that Captain America, he's ugly anyway. So I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
That's a Sid Shores, apparently.
Sid Shores.
Sid Shores?
Yeah, because it's not Al Avison either, because it doesn't look like it.
Is Bucky getting his fingers ripped? Happening there, or is he getting his fingers painted?
Oh, I think he's got bamboo shoots up his fingernails.
I think so. I would I would replace the Human Torch with a dolphin, and I would have the flamingos watching what's happening to Bucky.
Holy cow! They put this on a comic cover.
Yeah, I'm going to read Captain Midnight because of the cover copy. Slap Captain America and rip Captain Marvel. That's the most boring cover here. I don't care about the special thrill. The dolphin. Okay, so
many things to dolphin on that Captain America cover.
Yeah, I'm going to dolphin the guy with the sword behind Bucky, the one that Captain America is kicking.
Aha.
So Captain America will be kicking the dolphin. And I'm going to put the flamingos on the airplanes in Captain Midnight. On the wings. They're going to pretend that they're gremlins.
He just tortured right on that cover. Where's the comics code?
I'm going to read that Captain America. I want to know if Bucky makes it out. Ooh.
Oh, Bucky only leaves the comic on issue number 60-something. He gets shot.
I think I'm gonna slab Captain Marvel. Which unfortunately means I have to rip Captain Midnight. But I'll try to do it diagonally right in the middle of his leg. And let's see. I'm gonna make the dolphin torture Bucky. And the flamingos are gonna stand right on top of the caption box in Captain Marvel. Maybe even blocking the this word balloon a little. Look at that. That was even before word balloons were in any way standardized. That looks almost like a thought balloon.
Yeah. You could just see the tail.
Yeah.
On there.
And it's kissing his eye.
Yep. Again, no rules back then. They were just starting out.
Who drew that Captain Midnight cover? Any idea?
I have no idea. It's a good looking cover though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's
Was Captain Midnight a radio serial?
I have no idea.
It might have been.
Cover's not credited.
Uncredited. I have the feeling that I have a vague memory of like Captain Midnight being a radio serial or anything like The Shadow.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was an original character or something they licensed. Captain Midnight. It's probably Charles Biro or somebody like that.
Yeah, somebody had put Mac Raboy there, but
Mac Raboy?
But they received a couple of comments that it could not possibly be a Raboy.
Oh, okay. Marvel almost looks Asian. Yeah, those are those little dot eyes that C.C. Beck always gave him.
Okay, yeah, basically Fred McMurray is the rumor to be the actor they picked the most.
Yeah, the cover to Captain Midnight #1 says, for the first time in his own magazine, Captain Midnight, star of radio and movies.
Right at the same time, Eliza tells us, yes, it was a radio play.
Go.
Good evening. Let's see. Sleepy Reader says he's going to read Captain Midnight, slab Captain America, and rip Captain Marvel. Painful. Yeah. And dolphin between Midnight's legs. the plane. The plane. The plane. Good evening, Eliza.
Welcome.
You caught us right near the end. Doing a read ripping the January Captains. Like that, sometimes a theme just reveals itself. And in this case, there was Captain books coming out in 1943. And it looks like the color may be off in that Captain America one. Because the skin tone on Bucky looks like it's going to yellow too.
Yeah.
And the Japanese rising sun flags in the back aren't as red as they should be. So maybe the cover is fading or something. I've been listening, LOL. Well, glad to have you here listening. And the only other note I had for tonight, I don't know if we mentioned this, but DC Comics is also doing its own version of the Epic collections that Marvel has been doing for years. It's going to be called DC's Finest. So if you're looking for big honking collections of DC back issues, they're going to be out soon in those, phone book. Actually, it's funny because they were during when Dave Sim was pioneering them back in the 80s, they were called the phone book editions of Cerebus. Now Does anybody know what a phone book is? You're calling phone book editions, it would just confuse people. Those big, thick. Did you ever get any of those epic collections? Either of you?
Yeah, I still have a few.
What ones
No,
did you get?
I think I did.
I have several Avengers and X-Men. I got the first Defenders, the 2 Marvel Horrors, the second Captain Marvel.
You've got a lot of them.
Killraven. What else? 2 X Factors.
Well, how many years has Marvel been putting out those epic collections?
Oh no, I don't have. Oh no, wait, I don't have. I'm not talking about the epic collections. I have the essentials.
Oh, the essentials. Yeah, that's different.
They were cheaper.
The epics are the color ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only had the essentials.
I have a bunch of essentials. I have a couple of the epic. Well, like I said, I have more of the epic ones digitally because they didn't go on sale this year, but for the last couple of years, Amazon would put them on sale at Christmas times for like $6 an epic collection. So I bought some old ones that I kind of like, some Hulk ones, just stuff I liked from the. I never even look at them. I just kind of hoard them. But I was like, all right.
Yeah, but there are a bunch. There's been a bunch.
Horror.
Yeah, so for example, Amazing Spider-Man, they've put out. Okay, so,
yeah, they must be putting them out for at least 15 years now. Right?
Yeah, they started in 2014, I think.
2014, 10 years then.
Yeah. And there's always 2 or 3 new ones each month.
Yeah. So DC is finally getting the message and saying, hey, we should put some of these out too.
Yeah. For example, Amazing Spider-Man has everything up to 185. Then they have one for 259 to 72, and then everything from 289 to
to
399.
The original idea was they figured out how to fill up all the volumes, and they put out the most popular ones first.
Right.
That was the whole idea of the epic collections. Got a lot of Cerebus phone books. Yeah, I still have them too. They're back there. Which side are they on? Are they on? They're that side of my right. I think they're right there are my Cerebus phone book ones. I got a lot of the original issues. Got a lot of the phone books.
Mm-hmm.
Got the last phone book for free. I'm missing the first phone book and the 15th phone book. I have the 16th only because Roy, my LCS owner, gave it to me for free like sometime this winter. I think they got it in and it was damaged, and he's like, no one's ever going to buy this. Here, you want it? I said, sure. I'll put it on the shelf. That's actually how I got one of the horror essentials, too. I think the Werewolf by Night. He just happened to buy a collection that day, and he was going through them. And there was a damaged Werewolf by Night in there. He's like, here, you want this one? I'm like, sure. Because he can't sell it because it's damaged. I was like, not too damaged that it won't sit on my shelf unlooked at for a decade.
And then you decide to read it.
Let's see. Did I go through all my stuff? Usagi, Crossfire, Beneath, tons, Worlds. Yeah, I think I only got the 5. You went through that one. Went through that one. Yeah, only 6 issues. Man, this really is a sharp copy of Crossfire, number 12. I mean, I doubt you could find a copy this sharp out in the wild. So,
right.
If I ever slab anything, I'll have to check with my shop. See if they slab stuff. I can remember it was years ago. My friend Ed got some stuff slabbed for the first time ever. He was like, do you need anything slabbed? I'm like, don't think I've got anything to slab. He just happened to find a bunch of sort of high-end comics like Wolverine 181 at an estate sale, thinking of what you're going to do with your comics when you're. So he got a good deal. It was like a lot. So he for the first time ever, he's like, to make some of this money back, I'm going to send some to CGC. So he sent like a dozen books to CGC or something, and then sold like one of the with the Hulk 181s, and got the money for the entire sale.
Right.
All right. Well, we should wrap it up for the week. It was nice talking to everyone out there. Nice talking to you guys too. Anybody have any final? Oh, I didn't do any confetti or balloons tonight. There's some confetti. There's some balloons. My favorite. And we'll end with a little Doctor Strange. And everybody have a good night out there.
Fantastic. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.